Okay, I know this is coming a little bit late, but I'm here now, and we've got patch notes. Not just patch notes for League of Legends, not just patch notes for TFT, but the new season of TFT is on the way. So, as we can see here, Cyber City. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make two separate videos. First, we're going to do this video, of course. This is going to have patch notes 25.06 for League of Legends and 13.8 for Teamfight Tactics. Then we're going to make a separate video where we go over all the new stuff coming into Cyber City as sort of a little review because this drops in a couple weeks. But this stuff drops like in an hour, so let's get into it. We're going to start with League of Legends 25.06. Also, I've seen this Xayah skin get some hate. This is a legendary skin. I kind of like it. I can understand that a lot of people get upset that legendary models nowadays feel like they're a little lower in quality, but a lot of that is because newer champions have nicer models, so it's kind of difficult to make new models without the visual clarity getting kind of ridiculous. Also, I saw the Shaco legendary. That skin seems amazing. The April Fool's these skins this season seem amazing. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Patch 25.06. Plethora of nerfs, including Darius. Wow. You know, I actually haven't been able to play any Darius top because Darius jungle has been ridiculously powerful for a while now. Vanguard LP refunds a new ban notification. I encountered this while playing Arena. I have never seen this happen before. But one of my matches in Arena got terminated because a cheater was detected. And I couldn't believe it. Of all the game modes to cheat in, Arena. Champion Mastery. We'll be releasing our new Champion Mastery icons. Okay, no picture? Your shop will be returning this patch as well, and it'll be here for 2 patches. Okay. So just to follow up on some of the stuff they said recently, we're finally getting our mastery back. I know a lot of people really cared about it. The mastery system was a bit weird, a little bit funky. But we've got some new icons that are hopefully reminiscent of the older ones that we had in the past. Alright, so finally, into some buffs and nerfs. Caitlyn, W headshot damage and R damage decreased. You know, the funniest thing about Caitlyn getting nerfed here is the last Caitlyn I played against headshot herself because a Mel reflected her auto after Mel stuck in the trap, and Caitlyn literally killed herself from like 70% HP. So let's see here. Headshot damage increase versus trap targets. 220 plus 40 now scales up to 215 plus 30. Wow. Minus 10% bonus AD. That's pretty hefty. And minus 5 across the board for base damage. That's hefty. A 10% damage nerf? Pretty big. Ace in the hole. 300, 500, 700 plus 100%. 300, 475, 650. So they cut down on the base damage a little bit. So minus 50 on the base damage. Her ult's probably still fine. The trap damage is the significant nerf there. Corki, base armor decrease. Little overbearing, a higher skill brackets in bot lane. Well, I play in Diamond. I guess that's not high enough because I don't see Corki at all. So minus 3 base armor should make it a bit easier to kill him in lane. Darius. Passive damage to monsters decreased. This was expected. A lot of people pretty much knew exactly this was going to happen when he was too strong in jungle. So now his passive only does 200% damage to monsters. He'll probably still be viable. Yeah, he'll probably still be viable because he'll still be able to do the same thing. This is just going to slow his clear speed significantly. So there you go. If you actually like Darius jungle, this is going to hurt, but it's not going to like kill it. At least I don't think it'll kill it, because you'll still be able to reliably clear the jungle, buy your movement speed items, and just go for it. Your clear's just going to be slower. Draven, passive bonus adoration stacks removed. Draven no longer gains 2 bonus adoration stacks for every 6 kills. Wow, slowing down Draven. The snowbally ADC slowed down. Interesting. Ezreal armor growth. I mean, it's not the exact same as Corki. Corki lost 3 base armor. This is armor scaling. So 0.5, right? At level 18, he loses 9 armor total, which is pretty good. Make him easier to kill. The champion's already so slippery, so he doesn't need to be that hard to kill. Fiora, Q mana cost. All-time historic low in terms of play rate, and specifically performing much worse in lower skill brackets than she used to. She's pretty much required to buy Ravenous Hydra. I personally don't like Fiora buffs, but you know, it's just a little bit of a quality of life buff, realistically, right? Her Q does not get more expensive anymore, which is probably fine. I mean, this champion doesn't build any mana items anyway. And you never really have a situation where it's like she runs out of mana and can't fight you anymore. So it's kind of whatever. Garen. Okay. Garen is still overbearing in all skill brackets. So the damage on critical strikes for his E reduced by 25%. That's notable. Weakening is Rebind, which won't nerf his more balanced Juggernaut builds. I still feel like Garen's going to be really, really good. Because the thing is, Garen already starts out trading a lot of champions the moment he finishes a Hydra. Right? So he finishes his Tiamat, and he's already able to just, at the very least, just proxy the hell out of you. And then run away and let his passive do work for getting his HP back. And then he finishes Stridebreaker. And then he's already able to just fight whoever he wants. And I guess that's kind of the point, right? Stridebreaker's definitely a Juggernaut item. So this really just cuts down on he immediately buys a Phantom Dancer and then he just one-shots you. So I guess that won't be happening as much anymore. I still think Garen's going to be really, really strong. This is definitely just aimed directly at I'm going to build Phantom Dancer into the anti-heal crit item. Gwen, all abilities adjusted. Wow. This a rework or just a buff? I mean, Fiora is under adjusted as well, so got some big Gwen changes coming in. As they said on the TFT squad, buttery smooth. So, health growth. Flat 100, but her base health is up by 30. Okay. Passive, 1,000 cuts. 1% plus 0.6 per 100% is now 1% plus of target's HP. So this is a little lower. Damage to monsters modifier. 10 plus 15 is now 5 plus 15. So just a nerf to her passive, straight up. Am I reading this right? Yeah, straight up nerf to her passive. Final snip damage, 60 to 160 plus 35, 70 to 170 plus 35, so a little bit higher base damage there. Maximum damage, 310 plus 60, 320 plus 60. Alright, so a minor increase to the base damage of Snip Snip. Bonus resistances from her W. 22 to 30 plus 7 is now just 25 plus 5. It's flat now. Better early, worse late. E, skip and slash. I mean, you max this last anyway, so this is actually kind of fine. Skip and slash. Cooldown 13 to 11 is now 12 to 8. Okay, cooldown refund 25 to 65 is now 50 at all ranks. So another example of better early, worse late. But the cooldown gets better later in exchange for the cooldown. So this is actually probably fine. Since it has a lower cooldown all around, right? 8, it just becomes 4. 11, 65. Yeah, it's about the same. It's fine. On hit damage, 15 plus 20% AP. It's now 12 to 20 plus 20. So the damage actually scales better now. Needlework. Damage per needle. 35 through 95 plus 10. 30 through 90 plus 8. So that's a nerf. Initial slow 40 through 60. But you get the maximum slow at all ranks. Reduced slow. Also better at all ranks. This is interesting. Play the skill in Steve fights with only needlework casts. We still want players to be able to take over games to win, but by using your entire kit rather than farming up a bunch of gold and throwing ultimate needles. Okay. I feel like this is kind of a net nerf. Yes? Maybe? I don't see a whole lot of Gwen, if I'm going to be honest with you. But I guess Snip Snip is stronger. And the Skip and Slash actually scales better. And her ult is just weaker. I don't know. I only see Gwen as a counter pick. Right? Like I lock a tank. Like if I'm playing like Cho'Gath or something, that's when I see Gwen. So I honestly feel like she'll be fine, probably, still. She's still just gonna obliterate K'Sante and Cho'Gath and champions like that. We'll see. Q, damage increase for Jarvan. So 80 through 240 plus 140 is now 90 through 250 plus 145. So a cute little top up on J4's damage there. Falling off recent times, there's room for some damage buffs. Carry a little harder and have more impact in skirmishes. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Good for you, J4. Jhin, passive scaling increased, really? Jhin is weaker than we'd like him to be. It hasn't been that long since he took over the meta, right? Bonus AD, 4 through 44%, plus 0.3 per 1%, plus 2.5%. It's still 4 through 44. Very, very light buff on the critical strike chance. And another very, very light buff on the attack speed. This is still going to scale incredibly well, though, right? Like, 0.05 doesn't sound like a lot, but it kind of is when your champion builds 5 damage items. Our damage decrease. Isn't this like the 3rd time they've nerfed Jinx's ultimate? I remember the first time they nerfed it is because she was stealing Baron at like 3,000 HP. 325 to 625 plus bonus AD plus blah, 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 blah. So the base damage cut down by 25. Oh my. 10% less bonus AD scaling as well. Alright. Okay, fine. I think that makes sense, especially since I've seen a lot of Jinxes love to run the lethality. Like a lot of them like to build collector first item rather than Kintal Wild Arrows, which I believe is supposed to be the item that she rushes. Kaisa, base armor increase, base health regen increase, R cooldown decrease. Tended to be weak in the early game, but her current state is so weak there's not much reason to pick her over other ADCs. So 2 bonus armor, base health regen 0.5, killer instinct down 10 seconds across the board. Okay. I don't think that's going to change things too much. But if you like to play Kaisa, this does help a little bit. Karma, Q base damage decrease. Thank God. Thank God. I am so sick of this champion walking out of bot lane 4 levels down on me and doing 1/3 of my HP in 1 Q. 70 through 270, 60 through 260 plus 70%. You know, the reason support Karma can do that is because support items are fucking busted. They've always been fucking busted. It seems like they introduce new support items every couple seasons, like every other season, and it's always just ridiculous. But whatever. I guess, sure. Bad supports get elo inflated, and good supports just take over the game. As per usual. Passive and E damage increase for Kha'Zix. 14 through 116 plus 40% bonus AD. 17 through 136. So an extra 20. Ooh, 10% increase on his passive. That's pretty significant for a champ trying to, one-shot you. His leap, I mean, the damage on his leap isn't all that great, right? Plus 20% though. I mean, I was saying that it's not really that big of a deal, but if you're going to give it a 20% bonus damage increase, then maybe it will be kind of big. This is the big thing though, an extra 10% damage on his passive. Whew, gonna be spicy for the bug mains. Lilia, hopefully she's getting buffed actually. Minus 2 seconds on her E, the bowling ball. 60 through 160. A 10% increase on her bowling ball. I guess that's okay, because you realistically only use the swirl speed for her ultimate, right? You try to get a long range engage from a safe distance, like you throw it out whenever things are happening on the screen. It hits 2 people. And now you can guarantee the ult potentially on the enemy back line without actually like flashing and impressing Q or anything. So a cute little buff for Lilia. Give her a little extra damage for when she does manage to get it off, and it gives her more opportunities to press E to fish for those attempts. Lucian, E cooldown decreased. Lucian is a touch underpowered in the current league land state, unless paired with Nami. I mean, he's pretty good when you pair him with Nami. But I guess his viability shouldn't be tied to a specific support. So cooldown 19 through 14 is now 16 through 14. So a little bit lower in the early game to help you take over the early game a bit easier. Master Yi, armor growth decreased. Q critical strike damage increase. Master Yi has several built-in on-demand defensive options, meaning at times where he's attackable, he should be probably more vulnerable at a base level. So the same nerf as Ezreal, he's losing 0.5 in his armor growth, so he has the same amount. However, Alpha Strike, 100% crit strike damage. They are really pushing for people to just go crit Yi. Because this isn't the first time they've done this. I mean, hey, I'm all about it. I think it's pretty good. Alright, the Neferi rework. Okay, so I saw some spoilers for this already. She's getting the same treatment Tahm Kench got, where they flip her R with another one of her abilities. I think it's her W, right? The same thing as Tahm Kench. Flip the R with the W. Since she has struggled to find an audience, in retrospect, the target was not ideal version of Neferi, so we're going back to add some in-depth and outplay potential to her kit, while also opening up her to be played in the jungle. We're swapping her W and her R, yes, like I said. Been adjusted to account for new places in Neferi's kit. Casting Call of the Pack now makes Neferi untargetable. Interesting. So, base stats. Lower health growth, lower armor growth, the same as Ezreal and Lee. Base attack damage up by 280 growth, equalized at 2. Passive, we are more. This is her dogs. So, it used to be a max of 3 dogs. It can now go up to a max of 5 dogs at level 15. Wow. That's a lot of dogs. Pack mate damage, 12 to 32 is now 10 through 20. Plus 4% bonus AD. So this looks like a nerf, but it's not, because you're going to have more dogs, right? You're going to have 2 extra dogs at level 15. So this is actually fine. Pack mate health growth. 16 is now down to 13. Makes sense. Again, she has more dogs, so they're toning down the stats on the dogs a little bit. Armor and MR growth down to 1.8. Reduced AoE damage taken. It's actually a little bit more. Packmate reduced damage from towers. 50%. Okay. That makes... I mean, they have a little bit less HP, so it makes sense. Increase the resistances just a little bit. Packmates now do 165% damage to monsters. Yeah. So, Neferi jungle coming in hot. Packmate taunt duration down 2 seconds. Okay. Q. Damage to minions increased to 80%. Wow. That's going to make it much easier for Neferi to clear minion waves. W. Call of the Pack. Now, this used to be her ultimate. Her ultimate ability. She has the little explosion. You see the eyes. The screen flashes red. She gets bonus movement speed. And increased distance on her W. On her old W. Now it's just her W. So Neferi and her pack mates gain 1 second of untargetability on cast. So you can actually use it to avoid damage like a Karthusar, for example. Bonus AD. It used to have this complicated formula. Now it's just a flat plus 20% bonus AD. Now granted on cast, so you get it instantly the moment you press it. You only get 2 extra pack mates instead of up to 4, but that is because of the changes to her passive. You can now have up to 5 dogs. So it used to be you have 3 dogs total, plus the 4 you would get, which was a total of 7. Now you have 5 base with 2 extra, so it's still 7 dogs total. Buff duration, only 5 seconds. Wow, a third of the old time, but I guess it's a basic ability now, so it can't be that long. Bonus movement speed, 70 through 100, decaying over 4 seconds. It's now 20 to 30% for 5 seconds. Okay? The cooldown used to be 120 down to 100. And now the new cooldown, it starts at 20 second base and goes down to 18 seconds. Mana cost has also been reduced to 60. Call of the Pack no longer grants Neferi a shield, a pulse of vision, and will no longer reset the ability buffs on takedowns. Packmates will no longer gain bonus health and cooldown. Yeah. So, lots of big changes overall. It essentially got nerfed in all ways, but it's a basic ability now with 100 seconds less for the cooldown. Okay. I would need to see it in game, right? Like, it's just an on-demand buff, makes you untargetable, gives you 20% bonus AD. And her E was not changed at all. Her E being the flip, her movement ability. So now her ult. Her old ult is now on her W, but now she has her old W for her ult. Her old W was the mark a target, and then you and your dogs all fly at the target. Now it's new. If Neferi scores a takedown within 7 seconds, she reveals nearby enemies and can recast this ability once. Right, so this is what her old R had. Her old R, if you got a takedown, she got a shield, and it refreshed the buff. Now, if you tackle a target and you kill them within 7 seconds, you get a refresh. So you can do it again. And then when you do cast it the second time, that's where you get the shield. Okay, gotcha. The cooldown has been flipped. It's 110 seconds at base, goes down to 80 because it's our new ultimate. Mana cost is now 100 across the board. And the range is a flat 900 units, which is pretty good. It used to scale up to 940. Now it's a flat 900, which is pretty good. It has a really good range. Damage, 30 through 190 plus 80% bonus AD plus 10% per pack mate. Now does 350 base when you max it, plus 120% bonus AD plus 10% per pack mate. Wow, this shit might outright just one-shot you, by the way. This ability is no longer blockable. Oh. This ability can no longer be cast on minions. Oh. Okay, that's pretty good. That's understandable. That makes sense to me. I don't know if this is going to make Neferi a more popular champion. It's always weird when you flip around a champ's abilities. I mean, it ended up working out for Tahm Kench, I suppose. I don't see him support anymore, though. I typically see him top lane. But I guess what they're trying to do here is they're trying to open up Neferi for the jungle. And I think this makes a lot of sense if you want to push her more towards being a jungler as opposed to a mid laner. So, it seems cool to me. We'll see how it works out. I feel like they could have been a bit more creative with reworking her, but, you know. She's a relatively new champion. She's very new, so. Poppy. Q damage to monsters increased. Alright, so after the recent nerfs to Poppy to tone her down and support, she's getting some jungle buffs. Capped monster damage, 50 to 170 is now 75 to 195. Okay. Maximum monster damage, 80 to 300 plus 100% bonus AD is now 105 to 325 plus 100% bonus AD. Not a lot, but, you know, Good for jungle Poppy. Shouldn't have to suffer for support Poppy sins. Singed. Base attack speed increase. Q now steals minion kills from allied minions. So Singed can't miss CS now? Singed has historically struggled to farm against not only another champion in his lane, but also against his own allied minions. So his base attack speed has gone up to 0.7. So about 12% bonus attack speed. Q Poison Trail, respected deal. If a minion would die to another minion while affected by Poison Trail, Singed gets the kill credit instead. Wow, so as long as Singed sprinkles the poison on the minion wave, then even if it dies to another minion, he guarantees the minion kill. Alright, if you're not getting 10 CS a minute on this champion now, there's no excuse. That's actually a very significant quality of life change. In exchange, though, the scaling on his E has gone down a little bit. So it was 50 through, 50 to 90? Plus up to 8% maximum HP, plus 60% AP? Yeah, he lost 5% AP on his E. That is absolutely fine. I think this is pretty significant as a quality of life. Because now you're essentially guaranteeing that you're going to get all the CS. Smolder! I haven't seen Smolder in a while. W damage increase, E damage increase, R cooldown decrease. So just some flat buffs for Smolder here. Chew, that's the slow-moving spear. 30 through 110 plus 60 is now 60 to 100 for base damage. So the base damage is doubled at level 1. But it's a little bit lower at max rank. The explosion damage, 30 through 110, is now 10 through 110, but an extra 5% on the AD scaling. E, flap, flap, flap. This is his escape move that lets him go over walls. 5 through 25 plus 25. 10 through 30 plus 30. Okay. I mean, that's fine. It's a very, very small buffs, but it's his escape ability. It's not like the damage on it was really all that significant. But if you are using it aggressively, there you go. It'll do a bit more for you now. And now Mom, stuck at a... It used to be stuck at 120. Now it scales all the way down to 100 at max rank. Okay. Twisted Fate. Base armor increased. Okay. Alright, that's understandable. An extra 3 armor. Fine. Xinjiao. Q damage increase. Wow, I'm surprised Xinjiao's getting buffed, actually. I'm actually surprised. I guess you see him a lot in, like, really, really high, especially pro play, but you don't really see him a whole lot in solo queue. Just bullshit. I see him a lot, so I'm a little surprised, honestly. I guess just because I see him a lot doesn't mean he's good. 16 through 68 plus 40 is now 20 through 80 plus 40. Alright, so nice little base damage buffs for our arena junkie. Yorick, E damage to monsters decreased. Overperforming in the jungle. So they're allowing him to stay strong in the jungle, but they're cutting down a bit of his clear. I mean, doesn't Yorick just build a Tiamat anyway? I feel like this isn't that big of a deal. Oh no, I read it wrong. Okay. So Yorick is really good in the jungle, and they're capping his jungle damage. Okay. Cyrilda's Grudge. Armor Pin. Increased 5%. Ability Haste goes down by 5. Alright. More Armor Pin for Assassins. Fine. They don't really need more ability haste. They get so much haste from their items anyway. Warmogs. Alright, so Warmogs received some nerfs recently where they increased the cap that you needed in order to have it procced. So now the gold cost is down 200. Makes it a bit more affordable. Gain bonus health equal to 10% of bonus health from items. Alright, so this is just the passive effect. So an extra 2% bonus health you acquire from Warmogs. Alright, I mean, sure. Sure. Still don't think it's really all that gonna be all that important of an item. Only so many champions like really appreciate this, like Dr. Mundo, for example. Anti-lane swaps. So if you haven't been playing League in a little bit, they introduced a lane swap system so that your bot lane can't just go top and shit on the enemy top laner. This will not affect the majority of people who play solo queue, but it was like a horrible thing for like pro play, for example, because it was just happening every game and it was really boring to watch. So just some changes there for that. Bounties. Gold lead detection time, 14, 6 minutes. Wow. What? Decoupling the time it can take to turn on the objective bounty system in the back end. So now we can start suppressing champion bounties whenever we want, which is 6 minutes for its first version. Get some time for 1v1 laning comebacks while still turning on the time for early to mid-game team fights. Ah. So objective bounties can come online way earlier now. I mean, you shouldn't be losing that hard 6 minutes in, so I think it's not too terrible. Increase Otacon form thresholds by 10%. Yeah, you overshot it a little bit. I never see the revive Otacon now. So they've increased the threshold a little bit to make it more likely. And then some changes to Arena. If you like Arena, that's fine. Same with items. Mythic Shop update. Wow. Prestige, Academia Kana, Mac Rose, bug fixes. Okay. And here are your skins that are on the way. Yeah, alright. Alright. That about does it for League of Legends. I was here for a little bit longer than I was expecting. A little half an hour. And next we have oh shoot. Game updates. Alright, now we're going to take a look at Teamfight Tactics, patch 13.8, the For Fun patch. For those of you who, this is your first time playing TFT, if this was your first set, the last 2 weeks of TFT get wild because they decide to just go balls to the wall and make things really fun by removing a lot of the caps and limits to what we see here. So, Timo, if you like Timo, he's the new Mythic skin. These are kind of cute, actually. I'm getting sick of seeing this cat. Not gonna lie. And a bee dango. Alright. Cyber City dev drop. Once again, I will be making a separate video for Cyber City. It drops in a couple weeks. I'm just gonna make a video going over all the cool things coming with it. And that'll probably come out tomorrow or whenever I have the time to make that video. It's not coming today, though. Today is just patch notes. Send a second champion into the anomaly? Why not? So already, this is the For Fun aspect that I was speaking of. On 5-5, a second anomaly round appears. Champions can only have one anomaly, so an infectious anomaly has been disabled. So, infectious anomaly is now gone, but you can have 2 anomalies, but you can't stack them on the same champion. Why not? It's 5-5, like most of the players will be out of the game by that point. Plus 1% odds to 6 costs, starting on 6-1. Again, that's real late game. Encounters, making sure our last games are memorable ones. No encounter has been removed, so you're guaranteed to get an encounter every game. Wind Up Monkey, up to 12%. Powder has perfected the monkey. The monkey is now always grant all 3 of the positive player outcomes and never deals player damage. Holy crap. So Powder is now guaranteed to give you components, gold, and a radiant upgrade. Jesus. Scuttle Puddle up to 10%. Triple Prismatic up to 6. Wandering Trainer up to 5. Remove Wandering Trainer, damn it. And Loot Subscription up to 7.5%. Wow. That Powder encounter is going to be A hefty swing. Large changes. Augment. Powder's champion augment has been re-enabled and renamed to This Will Work. So, if you never took Powder's augment, it was a silver augment. It made Powder's monkey deal more damage, but it could hurt allies as well for half the damage. So 3-star Powder would obliterate the enemy front line, but it would obliterate your front line too, basically. Blast radius up to 5. Ability damage 350, 500, 700, 420, 550, 735. So it does way more. And then another anomaly has been disabled. Okay. You're getting 2 anomalies anyway, so another anomaly is not really necessary. Traits. We're giving Conqueror another boost. Sometimes 2 form swaps too little and 4 is too much, so why not 3? Oh, 3 form swappers a thing now. So Automata base damage increased all the way up to elite. Black Rose Scion AD per star level up to 15% from 12. Oh, Lord. Conqueror base AD 22, 25, 45, 22, 33, 45. So 4 Conqueror is actually pretty good to hold. Emissary Nami bonus mana up 1. Experiment HP up to 450 at 5. Oh, okay. I mean, that's not crazy. An extra 150. Okay. Firelight healing percent 20, 33, 40 is now 25, 40, 45. Form Swapper 3 has been added for 22% reduction and 33% amp. 8 Pit Fighter has actually been nerfed. I thought they were going to buff it. I really thought they were going to buff it. It's the 4 Fun patch after all. But minus 10% bonus true damage on 8 Pit Fighter. I mean, if you hit 8 Pit Fighter, you're going like top 3 regardless, right? 1 cost units. Aurelia damage reflect. 75%? A 45% buff? Powder mana. Now down to 90. Powder's monkeys are larger in size. Why not? You brought her augment back. Why not? Set is now also a pit fighter, which should have been the thing in the first place, right? Set's whole lore is that he's a pit fighter. This actually makes it easier to do the Savika augment. Oh, Set's a pit fighter. You only need 1 crest. Now I get it. It makes sense now. You only need 1 pit fighter crest to go 8, since Set is a pit fighter. They didn't remove a pit fighter. I get it. This now also actually is potentially an unintended buff for the Jinx Savika augment. The Unexpected Allies, I think is what it's called. His ability damage also increased to reflect this. Okay, interesting. So he's a Rebel Bruiser Pit Fighter now. And you only need 1 crest for 8 Pit Fighter. That explains this hefty swing at it. Minus 10%. Oh, man. Scary. 3 cost units. Kog'Maw base attack speed increase. Stop it! I always lose to Kog'Maw. I don't know why. That champion's my Achilles heel. Smeech HP toned down. Alright. Makes sense. 4 cost units. Ambessa. Small mana buff. Small AD buff. Twitch also gets 1 AD. Why not? Maybe that'll be just enough. Further tweaking Jinx to make sure her ult goes off without a hitch. A mana buff. And Savika gets some bonus HP. Again, this is really good for the Savika Jinx augment. Especially since hitting 8 Pit Fighter will be a lot easier. You can just make the Pit Fighter emblem, put it on Jinx, and you can then hit 8 Pit Fighter, still get Rebel active. With only 1 crest. Man, I feel like that comp's going to be really good. Better abuse it while you can. Anomalies. Arcana Overwhelming. MR to AP converted up to 50%. Why not? An extra 20%. Avalanche of Armor. 99. Berserker Rage. HP threshold. 85%. So your champ just needs to get tapped 1 time. Defense Expert. 110%. Eagle Eye. 80 per sec. 9%. Oh, Lord. They're just... Ramp everything up. Make everything broken. Heavy hitter cooldown. Minus 1 second. Hunger for power. I mean, the Hungry Crab is coming back, right? Set Urgot is now actually a viable comp since Set is a pit fighter. And Hunger for Power gives 75% now. The Hungry Crab is coming back. I'm telling you. Into the Unknown, 80 and AP gained. Up to 60%. Laser Eyes, up 40%. Oh, man. 42%. Share Your Energy. Actually nerfed a little bit, thank God. Slime Time, up to 200. Touch of Frost, back to 2.5. Oh, Lord, Touch of Frost is broken. An Infectious Anomaly is gone. Small changes. Academy added a new item list. Thieves Gloves, Thieves Gloves, Thieves Gloves. I like that one. I like that, actually. And the Buckfist. Oh, my Lord. So there you go. That's the for fun patch for TFT. It's going to be a wild 2 weeks. Huh. All right. I'm feeling pretty good. We might be uploading some wild TFT games over the course of this next week. But before that, again, this is the last patch for this set. The next patch is coming soon, Cyber City. We're going to do a breakdown of all the extra information that's coming out of Cyber City. We're going to take a look at every single unit, perhaps build some comps, and that's going to be an entirely separate video. But until then, that is the patch notes. That is it for League of Legends and TFT. Oh, man. Some exciting stuff on the way, I must say. So yeah, that's all new TFT stuff. We'll be taking a look at that next time. So that's going to do it for me. That's about 40 minutes of patch notes. I might do a few cuts to make it a bit easier to watch. But again, thanks to those of you who tuned in. I am very excited for the next, for the future of TFT. And League of Legends isn't looking too bad either. As long as they don't fall back into that pit of redundancy with the stupid crates and everything. Anyway, sorry, I'm yapping now. So thanks to those of you who tuned in. I will catch y'all next time. Peace.